Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. I am filming this in the middle of June when I am pretty much exactly 9 months into my buying a maximum of 5 new items for a year challenge. I'm going to leave a video up here for you, which is one I made in December, talking about this challenge, where it comes from, why I'm doing it, why I considered not doing it, and I wanted to give you an update now, 9 months in. That one was 3 months in, and now I'm another 6 months in, and just share with you how it's going, if I've had any struggles, what I've acquired, if anything, not to spoil anything, and how I feel for these final 3 months of this challenge. So in that video I talked about how I had already acquired one item. I had bought a shirt or a t-shirt as a gift for Teresa, and I realize now that I have it next to me, but I realize now that I am holding the microphone that I can't actually hold it up because I need 2 hands for that and 1 for the microphone. So I'll just put a picture of it on the screen for you right now. This is a t-shirt that Teresa found when we were at a craft fair in October for my husband's birthday, and this was the last one in her size, in the color black, which very much Teresa's wardrobe. You can see more of her wardrobe up here when I styled her. Very much not my color. It also features a skull on it. I have a thing with skulls that I don't like them. So like it's funny to me that I purchased this item which I would just never want to introduce into my own wardrobe, but that's what gifts are, and Teresa's really happy with it. So I'd gotten this already when I made that previous video, but I just didn't show it in the video. And like I said in that video, because both Teresa and I are doing the challenge, we talked a bit about, is it me acquiring this or is it her acquiring this, and who would have to count this as one of their items. And in hindsight, maybe both of us could have counted it as an item, but back then we decided to count it as one of mine, and that has not proved a problem for me, as I will get into now. So I'm running this challenge from September 15th or 14th of 2024 to, you know, the same date this year, and I acquired that t-shirt for Teresa in October, and I've gotten one more thing that I'm going to talk to you about. So in March and April, like for a month, over the course of March and April, my husband and I went to Japan for our long-awaited honeymoon. It was such a good trip. I was gonna say best trip of my life, which is actually true. It was just the best time. We had so much fun. We ate so much good food. We did so many fun things. It was just such a highlight, not just of this year, but just like such a highlight of our relationship thus far. We've been together almost 10 years now, and just of my life to this point. It was just the best time. And I spoke a little bit in that previous video about my Max 5 challenge that I had conflicting thoughts about Japan. I had been wondering, like, oh, it's such a once in a lifetime. We've been once before, but such a once in a lifetime or few times in a lifetime thing. And the FOMO of missing out and the wanting everything, it just wouldn't be the same as like being in a store that I have access to on the daily that I could get back to tomorrow, and seeing something, going, I'll think about it, and then coming back for it, because once we leave Japan I couldn't come back for things. But I decided to do the challenge anyway. I'm glad I'm doing it. However though, I did get one thing in Japan, and I'm going to show it to you now. This is a pair of wool trousers. They're like wool patchworky kind of trousers, or culottes, because they're a little bit cropped. I got them during the trip. I found them in this little store where everything was remake. Everything had been remade, like from old garments to new, or old fabric to new garments. And I really like these. I feel like they suit my style really well. I do like me a wool skirt. I do like some plaid. I do like culottes. And I just thought they were really cool. They are a dull, dark color scheme, which I've talked before about how I'd like to use more of my colorful or brighter pieces even in the fall winter time, and that's still something I can do. These pants just happen to be kind of dark. But I got these, and like I said, they were remake, or they are remake, and so I wasn't sure if I should count them because I'm like, the way I've been thinking of it is like, oh, a newly produced item, a brand new item that 100% new resources have gone into making. That has a different kind of impact than something that has been altered or remade, or used, like an old bolt of fabric that has been neglected for 30 years has now been turned into a skirt. that is different. That is using up old resources that haven't gotten the love, basically. Arguably though, I did get these pants in Japan, which is very far from Sweden. I flew there, I flew home, and there was an environmental impact on that whole thing as well, or from that whole thing as well. So ultimately I have decided to count these trousers as a new item, to count it as one of my 5, and that is where I'm at. I have bought 2 items in these 9 months. I have bought the culottes and I've bought the t-shirt, one for me and one for Teresa, and I'm really happy with them. I have not used the trousers yet because we got home early to mid-April and we're now in June. I live in the Northern Hemisphere. Spring finally arrived. Summer is here now. It hasn't been the time, the weather, the season for wool, which I'm very happy with. I don't want it to be wool appropriate this time of year, but even so, I haven't worn them yet or used them yet. I've tried them on, obviously. I've worn them, but I haven't used them. But I do think they will serve a good point in my wardrobe for the fall winter, and they also have the upside of the waist of them being elastic. It's not like very much larger than I needed size-wise, but there is a little bit of give, which is something that the older I've gotten, I've realized just how important it is to me to have clothes that can adjust a little bit with my size, that can grow with me a little bit. And I have sadly over the past couple of years had a lot of pieces that haven't done that have like a rigid waistband, and my size has been fluctuating, which is perfectly human and perfectly normal, but it has meant that some of the pieces no longer fit me, and that is sad when it's pieces I really like. So like I said, I am 9 months in. I have used 2 of my tokens, 2 of my allowed 5 items, and I'm feeling good about it. The thing I will say that I am still not really looking for new things. Like, I rarely, if ever, put myself in positions where I am exposed to new things. I do get the occasional ad on the internet, but my algorithm has been pretty geared towards remake or smaller businesses or that kinds of things. And on the random occasion that I get an ad for, say, Shein, I see that it's Shein and I'm like, I'm not interested in this, and just keep scrolling. And so I'm rarely exposed to new things, and I don't really go to the mall. I don't really go shopping in that way, which is a help for me. Like, that's not something I use to socialize, which I realize I talked a lot about privilege in that previous video and the privileges that I have in regards to this. And that is also a privilege, that like that's not how I socialize with my friends. It was for a bit when I was younger. That was like, oh, let's go shopping, and then that's what we did. And I still go with Teresa or with my husband to secondhand stores, which is still consumption, is still shopping, but it's a better alternative than the fast fashion and the newly produced stuff. So I have the privileges that I talked about in that video with like the sizes I wear and the fact that I've had the money and time and space and interest to acquire the things I have, and they fit the seasons and they fit my body and like all of that. But it is also a privilege that I don't use shopping, I'm gonna say at the mall. We don't really have malls here, but like at new stores as a way of socializing. It's just not part of my routine of my life anymore, you know? And that's not new for me for this challenge. That's just been the way it's been for multiple years at this point. I'm not saying I never go into new stores. I'm not saying that I never ever do stuff like this. I obviously got my dungarees in Edinburgh in a new store, and I was there with friends who wanted to go into like new stores and not just secondhanding, and I went with them, you know? I'm not saying that I never do it, but it's not usually something that I am subjected to. Getting back to the topic of Japan, I mentioned in the previous video that a worry I had for Japan, or not a worry, but a thought process I had, was the fear, the FOMO, I guess, of going there and like, I'm so far away from home, this is my one and only chance to acquire this item, I'm going home tomorrow, you know, kind of thing that I touched a little bit on before as well. And while that was real, the only new or new-ish item I got in Japan is that pair of pants. That was the only thing, and they were remake. Because I still, when we were in new stores that had newly produced items, I did see things I liked, sure, but something in the way I am wired these days, somewhere in the back of my mind, it was still as like, oh, that thing is nice. but it's new, so I'm not getting it. I just wasn't tempted in that way, I guess. I did instead prioritize and actively seek out thrift stores, secondhand stores, vintage stores, because of the mindset that I have. That's what I want to bring into my wardrobe. That's where I want to put my money. And Japan, or at least the stores I went to in Kyoto, had such great selection as well. It was extremely overwhelming. I made a video on my favorite stores that I went to in Kyoto, the favorite thrift stores, linked up here. But the experience as a whole was just really overwhelming. I'm glad I've had it. I would love to go back, but there was just so much stuff in some of these places. And more than a sense of like, this is so unique, this is so special, this is my one chance of acquiring this, because not only is it in Japan, there's also only one of them. You know, there was like a layered cake of FOMO, I suppose. But getting back on track about the challenge, I have 3 months left of this challenge, and I don't think I'm going to have a problem. In 3 months, I am allowed to buy 3 more new things, should I want to. But there is really nothing that I'm on the lookout for. There's really nothing that I'm like, I really want this thing and I need it new. I'm good. I can't think of anything, and again, I don't really put myself in positions where I'm exposed to that kind of thing anyway. And for me, if I were to buy something at a thrift store that still had the tags on it, I do still consider that a secondhand item. It doesn't happen a lot. It doesn't happen a lot that I find things still with tags on them, but yeah, I guess you can make an argument there that if I found something secondhand with the tags on it, it would still be a new item. I still think that if I buy it secondhand, it has been purchased by someone else, and when I pay for it for the second time, my first time, but the second time a person is paying for this item in a store, that money tends to go to charity or tend to go to a cause of some sort. That's how I'm choosing to look at it, but I guess you can make an argument for either side here. But yes, I have 3 more items that I'm allowed. I have 3 more months of this challenge, and I don't think it's going to be a problem. I will share with you when the challenge has wrapped up in about 3 months, how it's gone, any like final reflections on it, plans for moving forward. Right now, I mean, my general mindset is that I don't buy things new unless I have to. I mean, underwear I buy new, but I generally don't buy things new. And so if this challenge comes around again, I'll sign up for it again to be part of the number, to be part of the statistic, to be like, oh, 30,000 people are doing this. You know, that could sound impressive to someone who wants the boost, who wants to join as well. But for me, from the privileges I have and the life I live, I don't think it's going to be an actual challenge for me to achieve it. That's where I'm at right now. That's how I'm feeling, but I'll give you an update in 3 months in September time to let you know how it's been going. But that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear in the comments down below if you are doing this challenge, if you're tempted to do it moving forward, if you've done some other variation of this, or any other thoughts you have. Do you consider buying things secondhand with tags on them to be secondhand or to be new? Let me know your thoughts, and I look forward to talking to you in the comments. I'll be back with another video soon, so I hope to see you then. Bye!